Hello everyone, this is your friend Shinobi Nexus 2.0 and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto awakened the lightning bloodline and built a harem with Mai Terumi, Mikoto Uchiha, and Femme Kyuubi Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. A 6-year-old Naruto was fuming and stomping around his apartment in anger. Why he was angry? Well, given the state of his life, it's pretty much justified. Being only 6 years old may have been a factor. What are the odds of being one of, at most, 9 people in the world to have a monumentally powerful demon sealed inside of them? Naruto's got one. Some might consider a hidden reserve of monumental power a good thing. The only problem for Naruto was, he was hated for it. Granted, the hatred wasn't directed at him but to the demon fox. But he still got hated by proxy. Unfortunately, as the only logical outlet for that hatred, Naruto spent most of his life getting treated like a whore in a nunnery. What made this oh so worse was, the damned demon fox could talk to him. Not to mention that the stupid demon in question got his kicks out of the pain and suffering that comes with the life Naruto led. Muahahahahaha. Yes. Hurt the child even more. His pain fuels me, said demon roared in his head while eating imaginary hated villagers like eating popcorn. Oh, you love it, don't you? Naruto said to himself. They said that one of the things that will shape you in life was friends. Or rather the people around you. The Kyuubi was no friend, but unfortunately, was the closet thing Naruto had, literally and figuratively. And Kyuubi was a bad influence. Of course, I would rather watch you tear the villagers apart, but you don't. So this is the only entertainment I have, but beggars can't be choosers, said the demon, and Naruto growled. Why? Why is my life like this? Was I a murderer in a past life? A rapist? What did I do to deserve this? Naruto screamed to the ceiling. You were my kid before this, Kyuubi said, and Naruto gasped. What? Naruto said loudly. Just kidding. Muahahahaha. Kyuubi laughed the laugh of the clinically insane. Fuck you, Naruto roared. Well, if you want me so badly, come here then and rip the seal of my cage. Then I'll let you me in any way you want, Kyuubi said. You're a boy, male. I don't do men, Naruto said and tried to tear his hair from his head in frustration. PFT, you wish? Just because I'm the strongest demon does that mean I'm automatically a male? Sexist, Kyuubi said. Huh? Was all that Naruto could answer. What the heck does Kyuubi mean? Does that mean that the Kyuubi's a girl? What do you mean? Hey, the Kyuubi stayed silent, however. Oh well, I finally get some peace of mind at least, Naruto sighed. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ house somewhere in Konoha. A large crowd of ninja gathered in a small house, quietly plotting. Soon, a prominent figure, no doubt their leader, rose and the crowd grew silent. Finally, the time has come for us to avenge our loved ones, the man said. He wore a cloak and an oni mask so as not to compromise his identity. But how are we going to do it, leader? A random ninja asked. We won't be able to make a move on him with the Anbu protecting him. We're just regular ninja. Ah, that's where my genius comes to play, leader said and took out a scroll. I have managed to acquire for myself a forbidden assassination technique from Kumo. The crowd gasped. Yes, my comrades. This technique is the perfect for assassination, leader said to the stunned crowd. What does it do? Another random ninja asked. The skill works like this, leader began to explain to the enraptured crowd. The technique was named as the lightning technique. God's divine wrath. It works like this. A custom target seal is made and placed on the target, marking them for death in a very literal sense. Then, the caster will create another seal for them to channel their chakra into in order to initiate the technique. A storm cloud will appear above the target and strike them with lightning. In essence, you could say that it was the almost perfect assassination technique. The lightning bolt is such a powerful force of nature that only a charred corpse will be left and the target seal would be eradicated, leaving no proof. There was also the added bonus of the technique not using lightning-natured chakra, which could be traced, but an actual thunderbolt, which was faster, more powerful and untraceable. These two factors combined would leave people thinking that it was nature or God's wrath that killed the target, and not an assassin. However, the technique wasn't without its disadvantages. The first was the use of the target seal. The target could realize that he was tagged with a weird seal he had never seen before and might be able to do something to disrupt it. The second was the preparation time. Manipulating weather patterns to set up a thundercloud took time. The third was its area of effect. Its efficiency was greatly reduced when the target was indoors. Well, that makes sense. Would you go out when there's a storm outside? No, if you do, then you almost deserve a lightning bolt, naturally or not. Also, the range was within the storm cloud. It was true that you can't outrun lightning, but you sure as hell can outrun its storm cloud. So if the target is out of the storm cloud's range, then it will be useless. The fourth is the amount of chakra needed and its range. The farther the caster was from the storm cloud, the more chakra is needed and the longer it will take to form the cloud. Ah, what a splendid technique. It fits the boy's punishment. A punishment from God, a random ninja said, and everyone nodded their heads in agreement. So, what are we waiting for? We must begin preparations immediately, leader said, and everyone cheered. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ Naruto was pissed again. All because of the stupid villagers. First, he tried to buy some milk from a store. The store owner decided to sell him the expired ones even though he asked for the good ones and was close to begging the jerk. But no, he wouldn't relent and Naruto threatened to call Sarutobi on him. The store owner got mad and kicked him out, but not before Naruto threw the spoiled milk at him and managed to get some of the curdled product into his mouth. Second, he wanted to buy some kunai for throwing practice. The store owner sold him bad ones too. They were blunt and rusty. So Naruto pinned the store owner's hand to the counter using the very same kunai. And now, he had a mob chasing after him. Time to run, and run he did until he bumped into someone. It didn't matter, he kept running. Hehehehe, I've tagged the kid. The man that Naruto bumped said to himself. Now we can start your punishment, demon. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ Naruto was extremely pissed. He finally managed to escape the mob by running to the top of the Hokage monument, and now, it was raining, heavily. From the looks of it, it was a huge storm. Cracks of lightning could be seen from the cloud. Gah! They just keep coming, don't they? The misery and pain? Naruto screamed towards the sky, and a lightning struck a few meters near him. It's that all you have for me? I've had worse. Come on, Naruto screamed again. Kid, as much as I respect your take no shit attitude, can't you do it someplace else? Someplace safer and dry, like indoors perhaps? Kyuubi said worriedly. Oh, so now you decided to talk, huh? Naruto said, and Kyuubi rolled her eyes. So are you really a female? Yes, I am. Now can we leave? Kyuubi said, and Naruto was shocked by this revelation until another lightning bolt missed him by a few meters once again, causing him to jump. Gah! Fuck you, Kami. You gods are cruel, doing this to a child like me, Naruto screamed. God damn it, kid. You're going to get fried if you stay here, and would you stop cursing the gods already? Kyuubi said. She may be the strongest demon and in her released form. Lightning like this was just an itch. But when you're stuck inside a kid and have the majority of your powers locked away, a simple lightning strike can kill you. Cracks of lightning started to converge into one, and a bright ball of lightning could be seen hovering above them in the cloud. Kyuubi's eyes went wide, knowing what would happen. I don't care, they think they're the only ones that can screw with me? Well, screw them. Screw them all. Naruto shook his fist towards the massive ball of lightning. You think that just because you're all high and mighty you could do anything you want? Huh? Well, this is Naruto Uzumaki telling you otherwise, Naruto screamed again. The ball of lightning chose that moment to unleash its built-up energy. What erupted from the center of the cloud, directly above Naruto's head, was more like a pillar than a bolt of lightning, centered around the little orange-clad boy. We're screwed, we're fucked, we're dead, Shiti, Kyuubi screamed. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ mindscape boom. Crash. Crack. Naruto woke up in the familiar environment of his mindscape, the sewer prison that kept the Kyuubi at bay. What the hell is that sound? Naruto asked aloud. Normally, when he arrived here, he would hear the sounds of water dripping, but now, the place looked like it was going to come down. Some of the walls were cracked and flashes of electricity could be seen coursing beyond it, while some were riddled with holes and Naruto saw some kind of a storm outside of it. God damn it! Kyuubi screamed and Naruto ran towards her. What's wrong? Naruto asked and saw that the Kyuubi's tails were spread like a peacock's and was glowing with red chakra. The chakra was seeping all over the place. What's wrong? What's wrong? I'll tell you what's wrong, Kyuubi screamed at the blonde boy. Naruto just simply sat down and crossed his arms together. Your eyeballs just got blinded by the intense brightness of the lightning strike. Not that it matters anyway, as your eyeballs are now fried. Oh, and that also applies to your whole body. After this, you will be such a badly cooked human that not even carrion-eating animals would look at you. Naruto looked around while scratching his head. Huh, that's not something you get to experience every day, Naruto said, and Kyuubi wished she could do a face palm right now, but she has important matters to attend to. So how come I'm here anyway? That's because I pulled you in here. Time in here moves slower than outside. Your body's being fried right now and my regeneration is the only thing that's keeping you alive. And it's a good thing that I brought you here, if not, you'd gone insane from the pain. Kyuubi screamed at him. Ah, Naruto said. Wait, I thought you want me to be insane? Kyuubi was at loss for words. It was true. Making the boy insane would definitely help her gain freedom. Why didn't just leave the boy outside? Could some part of her want to protect the boy? Did she have feeling for a human? Shut up. So what now? Naruto asked. I'm kind of busy here, Kyuubi screamed at him. It was true, in the real world, the freak lightning strike that hit Naruto lasted quite a while. It didn't just hit Naruto for a second or two, but enshrouded him for full 10 seconds. The lightning was now destroying Naruto's body while Kyuubi was trying to heal it, and thus, Naruto's body was in a constant state of being broken down and repaired. Right now, Kyuubi was pumping 8 tails worth of chakra through Naruto's body to keep the regeneration going strong enough to try and keep Naruto's body together. Sorry kid, either you die as a human, or live as a demon, Kyuubi said. Naruto was about to speak when Kyuubi released a sudden burst of chakra that sent Naruto careening back into the real world. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ Sarutobi Hiruzen was as usual, doing his most hated job, paperwork. He desperately wished something exciting would happen to pull him away from doing the job. Today he got his wish. It seemed that a mob had gathered and chased one of his charges around the town. It's been a while since this happened. Last time was 3 years ago and I thought I'd made that incident a crystal clear example of what would happen if they do this again, Sarutobi thought. Sarutobi growled and got up to deal with the mob, personally. If the kid was unharmed, he would just break their hands. If the kid was hurt, he'd kill them all. Naruto managed to escape them, fortunately, but Sarutobi kept his word. The people that were in the mob had their hands broken. Sarutobi was about to start his search for Naruto when suddenly a storm cloud appeared and began to rain heavily on Konoha. Strange, there weren't any clouds just a minute ago, Sarutobi mused. It had been a bright and sunny day in Konoha. It had looked like it was going to be one of the hottest on record. I hope that Naruto managed to get indoors, Sarutobi mused again when he heard a familiar voice shouting on top of the Hokage monument. Sarutobi's eyes and mouth widened in shock at seeing the subject of his musings shouting at the storm cloud. Of all the places, he chose the highest place in Konoha? Sarutobi said, and his heart almost stopped when two lightning strikes almost hit him in quick succession. Anbu! Get that kid away from there! Sarutobi's orders boomed and all of his elites quickly raced towards the blonde boy, soon to be a lightning rod. Alas, none present in Konoha was faster than lightning, and sure enough, a huge lightning strike crashed down on Naruto as he stood atop the fourth's head. All who witnessed it waited with bated breath. The huge pillar of lightning, no doubt the biggest thunderbolt anyone had ever seen, lasted for a full 10 seconds, but to all of them it was an eternity. Strangely though, the lightning pillar of such power and size should have destroyed the fourth's head, but it didn't. It was as if Naruto was blocking the lightning from going any further. Then the witnesses grew fearful as a red aura began to spread from the boy, condensing into separate tails of chakra, 8 in all. Cat Anbu, who was a few meters ahead of Sarutobi, grabbed his left hand in pain, and Sarutobi knew what it meant. Before anyone could react, the blood-red pillar of lightning vanished as quickly as it had appeared. The next second, however, a ball of crackling electrical energy exploded out from Naruto, reducing the Yondaimi's head to rubble. No one moved, their shock held them in place. Go! 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 Sarutobi regained his composure first and barked his orders again before all the Anbu disappeared, along with the Hokage. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ Oh. Naruto groggily sat up and rubbed the top of his head. His body felt weird, really, really weird. For one, he didn't feel tired at all. Granted that it was hard for him to get tired, but this was different. It's like that time he drank that damned drink named For something. He couldn't remember the name, but the drink kept him up for 3 days straight and he had enough energy to go on a non-stop pranking spree of the whole village. After that the drink became outlawed in Konoha. Hell, it had been disapproved of before, now even owning some of the stuff carried a heavy sentence. Why is my skin all yellowy? Naruto thought, holding his hand up to his face for inspection. A sudden spark shot between his index and middle fingers. Instinct made him yell and pull his hand away, but he was shocked, or rather surprised that he wasn't shocked. He'd felt nothing. Looking down at his, now semi-body, he realized that he could see sparks jumping all over the place, even running across his skin and arcing from his limbs to the ground. Having a weird idea, Naruto reached out in front of himself and was even more surprised when his arm extended beyond his normal reach, despite the fact that some part of him expected it to happen. What? Awesome. Kyuubi, did you do this? Naruto asked. Shut up, Kyuubi said before she went silent. Naruto shrugged it and waved a fist to the sky. Ha! Take that, you stupid gods. I took the best shit you got and I came out of it like a boss. Naruto screamed and he heard the Kyuubi groaned inside him. Just then a breeze carrying a weird smell flew into his nose and caused an itch. Naruto rubbed it, but this only irritated his nose even further. AAA. Naruto! Sarutobi screamed and gained Naruto's attention, but it was too late. Oh, Grand Achu! Naruto sneezed hard, a loud crack was heard and Naruto was gone in a yellow lightning. Naruto? Naruto! Sarutobi screamed to the heavens. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ same small house somewhere in Konoha. The crowd of ninjas were all sprawled on the floor, all of them dead or dying from chakra depletion. Finally, revenge is served, leader said with his final breath before joining his comrades. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ island near Kirie, a lightning bolt slammed into the ground. Hard and Naruto appeared, face down. What now? Naruto raised his head and viewed his surroundings. This didn't look like Konoha. Oh, I see. You're not done, are you? Naruto got up and shook his fist to the skies again. It's that all? A small storm cloud appeared above his head and began to launch miniature lightning bolts at him. What the? Is that it? Naruto said and cupped his mouth with his hands, trying to hold back his laughter. Come on, I ate your freaking godly thunderbolt, and now you send me this? Naruto said before he burst out laughing at the storm cloud's efforts to harm him. After he had his laugh, Naruto realized that the storm cloud had disappeared and his skin had also turned back to its normal, fleshy self. In other words, he no longer looked like a living lightning bolt. Hey, he thought, could that be what I am? A living thunderbolt? Taking another look at himself, he realized one more thing that drove the question of his new, super awesome electric skin thing to the back of his mind. Why the hell do I look like a 12-year-old? He shouted to no one in particular. Oi, Kyuubi, did you do this? Still no reply. And I'm too. So now that you know you can't hurt me, you decided to attack my dignity instead? Bastards, Naruto said, and he shook his fist to the sky again. The small cloud then appeared again and assaulted him with lightning and rained on his head. Alright, fine, not a problem anyway. Naruto sighed as his head was drenched and turned around and saw. A red-headed woman was staring at him with her mouth wide open. They both stared at each other for a moment, but it felt like an eternity. Suddenly, the mini storm cloud released a huge thunderclap, which brought the both of them back to the real world. Naruto was scrambling his head for an answer that hopefully wouldn't cause the woman to inflict bodily harm on him. Fortunately, an answer came up. I just got back from a beach, Naruto said with a smile. Author's note. Now I know that the title says that Naruto's a living storm, but in this chappie he's more of a lightning incarnation. The storm will be his upgrade later in the story. You've read this, now review. Jutsus used. Lightning technique. God's divine wrath creates a storm cloud above the target, and after a while, a lightning bolt is casted down towards the target. The target is marked using a specialized target seal. As the lightning is real lightning, avoiding the lightning is almost impossible. Multiple targets can also be marked. However, there are drawbacks on using this skill. The first is the use of the target seal, which the target could realize something was amiss. Second was the preparation time. It takes a while for the storm cloud to reach maturity. Third was the area of effect. The user is completely safe if they are outside of the storm cloud's range. Also, if they are indoors, the effectiveness of the lightning is reduced. The fourth was the amount of chakra needed in range. If the caster is further away from the storm cloud, the more chakra and time is needed. Also, the amount and strength of lightning is dependent on the amount of chakra used. This technique is almost similar to Uchiha Sasuke's Kirin, albeit in a few differences. All in all, Kirin is much more effective but requires the user to be outside to cast it, while the divine wrath can be done indoors. An island near Kiri. I just got back from a beach, Naruto said with a smile. The red-headed woman, however, closed her gaping mouth and glowered at him. The red-headed woman looked to be in her 20s or so, Naruto thought. He couldn't really pinpoint the exact number. Oh well. The woman, however, has what has to be the weirdest hair he ever seen in his life. Her hair was red, but not really red. More like auburn-colored, and was waist-length. She has light green eyes, however, has 4 long bangs, and one of it covered her right eye. Naruto wondered why it covered her eye. Maybe she has a scar on her right eye. She also has large. She was wearing a plain blue shirt and short black pants. Judging from her sweating, she must have been exercising or maybe training prior to Naruto's arrival. There's no beach around here, the redhead said. And did you just travel using lightning? There's no one here when she and her family moved here before, so they can safely say that this was a private island, property of the Terumi clan. But more importantly, the kid just got here by lightning. Well, of course not here. I just got back from it to here using the lightning. Naruto cooked up another lie again, and the woman glowered harder, knowing that it wasn't the truth. Naruto realized this and decided to be smart about and scratched his head. Okay, I wasn't from a beach. I was from my home. Can I at least have something to cover myself? If there's one thing I know about being a guy is that being in front of a woman tend to have a 50-50 chance of getting his balls kicked in, Naruto replied. Why should I give you anything when you're a stranger? And two, the woman crossed her arm across her busty chest. Oh, that's right. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto said with a smile. The woman's eyes widened for a moment. Uzumaki? But they were destroyed ages ago. Well, not the whole clan but only their country. But the kid's not a redhead, is he really as an Uzumaki? The woman thought. She may sound a little paranoid, but can you blame her? Her life so far wasn't a fairy tale and the kid's weird. He just got here using lightning, and May hated lightning. That tended to make you a bit paranoid. May decided that maybe she could try to be civil to the kid for the moment. May Terumi, May said, and Naruto's smile grew wider. Aunt, now we know each other's name, so that doesn't make us strangers anymore, right? Naruto said with a smile, and May raised an eyebrow at him. Come on, my little junior's feeling weird, okay? And I think this situation is making him weirder, Naruto said, and he pointed down to his crotch, and May looked down to see. Oh, that's on a kid like him. May stammered in her mind. Fine. Follow me, she said with a blush, and turned around and started to walk. However, what May didn't saw was that the moment she turned her back on him, Naruto's smile faded and a depressed look replaced it. Naruto looked at his arms, which cackled with lightning, and sighed before going after May. $#$#$#$#$#$#. Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto said to two more people in front of him. Currently, Naruto, May, and what has to be her two relatives, probably parents, are in front of a small house. May quickly got inside and appeared moments later with man's clothing for him. Naruto then quickly wear it, but he realized that it was too big. It probably belonged to the man in front of him. The man has brown hair in a ponytail, black eyes, and vertical slash scar on his right cheek. He wore a black plain kimono and crossed his arms in front of his chest. The man looked to be in his 30s, and judging from his body language, he's a warrior. Takeshi Terumi, the man said in a deep voice, and Naruto realized that Takeshi was looking him over from head to toe. The other person was a woman standing beside Takeshi. She has solid red hair, unlike May's mixture of brown and red. Her hairstyle was quite normal compared to May's, however, and it was plain, and it was tied in a ponytail too. She has light green eyes, and she wore a plain red kimono. Mai Terumi. Nice to meet you, Uzumaki-san, Mai said in a soft voice. Well, at least she's nice. So, what brings you here? Takeshi asked, and Naruto scratched his head. A sneeze? Naruto answered honestly, and Takeshi raised an eyebrow at him while Mai giggled. The truth, boy, Takeshi commanded, but Naruto wasn't affected. Having countless adults screaming at him and demanded him things has toughened him up. Besides, he wasn't scared, as he did tell him the truth. It just wasn't detailed after all. It is the truth, Naruto said, and Takeshi glowered. It just wasn't detailed, Naruto said again, and his stomach decided to save the situation by growling at everybody. The sound that came from the stomach was monstrous. In fact, had any Konoha citizen that has faced the Kyuubi heard her growl and survived, they could say that the sound from the Kyuubi and Naruto's stomach was the same. It makes one wonder if the sound was actually Naruto's stomach or the Kyuubi herself. Takeshi was taken aback by this. May let out a small eep, while Mai just laughed. Naruto himself looked astonished by his stomach. That's a new record, Naruto said sheepishly and rubbed his stomach. Mai stopped her laugh and wiped away a tear. Well, Uzumaki-san, can I call you Naruto? May asked, and Naruto nodded. We're just about to have dinner. Why don't you join us? Naruto nodded again with a smile and followed them inside the house. $#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$# Naruto ate what has to be the best dinner he ever had so far. It was normal food for once and not instant ramen. Heck, He only ate ramen because that's the only food that he could get. The only restaurant that accepted him and not poisoned him even if they do was the Ichiraku Ramen. And that place only sells ramen. So now you know why he liked ramen so much. He didn't have much choice in the matter. It's been ages since he had rice. Seconds, please, Naruto asked and held his bowl at Mai and she filled it with rice and smiled at him too. This action made Naruto felt good because no one has ever done this for him before. Mai gave him back his rice bowl and Naruto just stared at the harmless food in his hand. What's wrong? Is there something in the rice? Mai asked with concern and Naruto shook his head and smiled at her and resumed eating. Mai, however, saw his eyes in the brief contact they had. It was teary. So, Naruto, how exactly you got here? Mei said you arrived in a lightning, Takeshi asked and Mei, who has changed into a plain blue kimono, nodded. I don't know. I got hit by a lightning strike and after that, I somehow survived. And then I sneezed and the next thing I know, I was in front of your daughter, Naruto replied. Naruto didn't feel comfortable telling them the whole truth. Yet, sure, they were nice people, but Naruto has been fooled by kindness before. And yes, Mei is the daughter of Mai and Takeshi. Takeshi eyed the boy, who resumed eating and knew that the boy didn't tell the whole truth. How you survived the lightning strike and got sent here anyway? Do you use any technique before this? Or do you have a bloodline or something? Takeshi asked and Naruto shook his head. Well, you do have a bloodline now, the demon inside him said and Naruto perked up. This gained Takeshi's attention but Naruto gave him a weak smile and resumed eating. You finally said something. What happened? Naruto thought. Saving your took out much of me. We'll talk later, Kyuubi said and Naruto nodded. The dinner was silent for a moment before Mai sighed. Mei clearly didn't want to talk to let her parents deal with the situation. Takeshi knew that he couldn't brute force the answer from the kid and decided to give him some time. Mai, however, doesn't like a silent dinner at all. So Naruto, where are you from? Mai asked and Naruto stopped eating but stared at his rice. Sarutobi once told him that should he ever find himself to be outside of Konoha's gates and met a stranger, he was not to tell them where he's from. Sarutobi told him to remain silent and wait for ninjas from Konoha to come for him. Mai realized his silence meant that he wasn't going to answer. We're from Kiri, Mai stated and Naruto looked at her. He didn't expect for her to tell something about them. He expected the give and take policy. Tell something about you, and they will tell something about them. Naruto thought that should he refuse to tell them anything, they would refuse too. We were Kiri ninjas before. Takeshi and I were Jonins but Mei here was a Chunin, Mai stated. Takeshi looked angry that Mai was so open about it and opened he was about to say something when Mai glared at him. Not a sound came from Takeshi. Naruto, however, was thinking hard. If memory serves him right, Jonin was a high-level ninja while Chunin was the medium. Wait. You said were? What happened? Why do you quit? Naruto asked and Mei looked uncomfortable. Mai smiled and said, we were hunted down by our own village. Naruto widened his eyes in shock. This is because we have a bloodline. Well, Takeshi and I have one. Mei here have both of our bloodline, Mai said and smiled at her daughter. Mei smiled back weakly. Naruto, however, has conflicted feelings. Their situation was almost like his. And Mai was so open with him. He felt bad if he didn't do the same, but he wasn't sure if he was ready. Did you run away because of what you have inside you too? Mai asked and looked at him. Naruto perked up, shocked at her deduction. Mai then smiled at this. Knowing her guess was right and Naruto looked away. He felt uncomfortable at how easy it was for Mai to see through him. Suddenly, sparks of lightning arced from him, gaining everyone's attention. At first, it was small but then larger ones started to appear. I'm sorry, Naruto said and dashed outside. Everyone was silent for a moment before Takeshi spoke. So what do you think? He's not from Kiri, that's for sure. His reaction shows that he didn't know about the purge, Mai answered. Kumo then? It seems to me that his bloodline is lightning-based, Takeshi asked again. I'm not sure if he really is from Kumo. But yes, his bloodline revolves around lightning, much like the Hazuka clan is revolved around water, Mai stated. So, what do we do with him? Mei asked uncomfortably. Mai looked at her and smiled. We'll let him cool down for a moment, Mai said. And if he decided to leave? Mei asked again. Then that is his choice, Takeshi stated. If he arrived with lightning, I doubt there's much we could do to stop him from going anyway. Mei didn't say anything but replied with a dissatisfied look. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ Naruto screamed as he let out another blast of lightning at the water. God damn it, he said while releasing another blast. He was at the beach now, releasing his pent-up anger in the form of lightning towards the water. Naruto was having a lot of conflicted feelings right now and his newfound abilities didn't help either. Kid, Kyuubi said and Naruto closed his eyes. What? Naruto asked internally. What were you thinking back there before we got hit by the lightning? Why didn't you run away? Kyuubi asked. Why do you care? Naruto asked. Because it seems to me that you were trying to commit suicide. I don't believe that you're dumb enough not to take cover, especially when two lightning almost hit you, Kyuubi stated in an angry tone. And now look what happened to you. Weren't you supposed to be happy? I did gain a bloodline after all, Naruto said. A part of me is happy, yes, but another part isn't. We could have died back there, Kyuubi said angrily. Well, sure, this happened because of me. But all of this shit wouldn't happen if it weren't for you in the first place. Naruto screamed at the sky angrily and arcs of lightning started to appear from his body. If it weren't for you, it wouldn't be up there on the Hokage monument in the first place. The Kyuubi growled for a while before going silent and Naruto was again confused. Kyuubi usually took everything that Naruto threw at her. Cursors, blames, threats, and she usually responded with her diabolic laugh of hers. But now, hey, a voice said and this surprised Naruto, which caused him to involuntarily release a burst of lightning. Kya! Mei screamed and Naruto quickly got up to see that she was on the floor. She was electrocuted by his burst but she wasn't badly harmed. Shit, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, Naruto said and went at her. This, however, proved to be a mistake as more lightning strikes Mei. Mei screamed again and Naruto backed away and the lightning stopped hitting her and instead, arcing to the ground. Naruto looked horrified at what he has done while Mei groaned in pain. I didn't mean to. I can't control my powers yet. You, Mei said while getting to her feet. You shouldn't have come here. I fucking hate lightning. I hate the thunder and I hate the storm. I hate you, she said before running back to the house. However, Naruto saw something in her eyes before she left, fear and hatred. Naruto slumped to the floor and held his head with his hands and ruffled his hair roughly, sending large arcs of lightning everywhere. Grr. His life was messed up before this, and now, it was surely destroyed. Hey, Naruto heard a voice said and he turned to look at the source. It was Takeshi. Sorry about her. She wasn't always like this with other bloodline users. Your case was special after all, Takeshi explained. Great, everything is about me, is it? Naruto said angrily. Kami seemed to hate him very much. First to put the demon inside him, turn him to lightning, send him to a place where there are people like him in a way but only to have one of them hate him because of what he is now. Maybe, Takeshi said and sat down in front of him where the lightning didn't reach him. She has a bad past involving thunderstorms. They both looked at each other for a moment before Naruto asked, how bad? Our clan was purged during a thunderstorm, Takeshi said with a grim line. And not just ours. Other clans were destroyed during thunderstorms too. Naruto's eyes widened at this. Our enemies doesn't have any bloodlines and they knew that fighting us straight on would be a disadvantage to them. So they decided to assassinate us during the thunderstorm. Naruto groaned and shook his head again. Great, so she must think that I have something to do with the storm, Naruto thought angrily. and then Naruto realized the real reason why Mei hated him. She must have thought that I'm here to kill her and her family, Naruto thought, and he clenched his fist. Takeshi got to his feet and turned around. Don't beat yourself about it, kid. It's not your fault. Mai and I don't blame you for it, Takeshi said, and Naruto felt a bit better. Come inside and sleep this through, Takeshi said and walked away. Naruto reluctantly got up and went after him. Kami just kept throwing shit after shit at him, and it doesn't seem to stop anytime soon. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ next day wasn't any better. Kyuubi still kept silent. Mei avoided him while Mai and Takeshi went out of the island to get supplies. So he was left alone to ponder about his situation. Like how to control his newfound powers. So far he hasn't had much luck. It turns out that his lightning powers are very much related to his emotions. Get angry and big lightning bolts appear. Get happy. Well, he hasn't much luck on being happy yet. And he still doesn't know whether he can turn into pure lightning again or not. It seems that being pure lightning is his way of moving large distances in a short time. But there came the question. Even if he can travel, where would he go? For years he dreamed of running away from Konoha, but to where? Was the outside world better than Konoha? He didn't know. Hey, Mei called out to him. Naruto turned around to see her in her training clothes again, but this time, there were bandages on her skin. Time for dinner, she simply said and walked away. Naruto sighed and followed suit. Dinner that night was uneventful. Mei was silent the whole time and so was Naruto. Mai, the ever-silent hater, chatted with her husband. Mei finished her meal quicker than usual and excused herself. Naruto also excused himself to catch up after her. Both Mai and Takeshi shared worried looks, but they decided to let things happen first. Wait, Naruto said to Mei in the corridor to the rooms. Mei stopped but didn't turn around to face him. Naruto sighed and spoke, I want to say that I'm sorry for hurting you. Mei didn't respond. So, I'm sorry for hurting you. That's all, Naruto said and was about to walk away when Mei spun to face him. I don't care about your apology, Mei said, her voice seething with anger. Naruto raised an eyebrow at her. I want you to leave. What? Why? Naruto asked back. Is it because I hurt you? I didn't mean to. Really? Or is that just an act? Mei shot back and Naruto was surprised, but he knew what she meant. I'm not a ninja, I just got my powers, alright? Naruto said through gritted teeth, angry at the accusation. You expect me to believe that? A lot of ninjas already reached Chunin at your age, Mei said. I'm only 6 years old, Naruto said, and Mei scoffed and crossed her arms. Really? A 6-year-old in a body of 12 years old? Mei said, disbelieving. A lot of shit happened to me, alright? Naruto countered and Mei looked away, still not believing him. This angered Naruto even more. It's not fair to blame me for the deaths of your clan. I didn't have anything to do with it, Naruto stated. It doesn't have to be you, Mei said without even looking at him, and Naruto's clenched his fists in anger. But you're still blaming me for something I didn't do? You know that? Naruto said and received a right hook from Mei. Naruto stumbled to the wall but quickly stood up again and glared at her. You don't know anything. You don't know the kind of shit that I have to go through, Mei said through gritted teeth. Naruto spat blood on the floor near her feet before glaring at her again. That's true. I didn't know the pain of losing loved ones, but that's because I don't have much to lose in the first place. But that doesn't mean I don't know shit about suffering, Naruto said in anger, but Mei wasn't affected. What does he know anyway? I've known about your story. That you were discriminated because of your bloodline and you witnessed the massacre of your clan. So let me tell you mine. From the day I was born, my own father sealed a demon inside me, Naruto said, and Mei looked shocked from this. Yes, Naruto knew, as Kyuubi told him on the first day they met in an attempt to break him. I'm from Konoha and the host for the nine-tailed beast. Ever since I was little, I was discriminated, hated, prejudiced and bullied. I've had countless assassination attempts on me, and you know the most memorable one I've had? I was poisoned in a restaurant and no one did anything to help me, Naruto said, and Mei looked horrified with each word that came from Naruto's mouth. You at least have a family, I don't, and do you want to know why I got hit by lightning in the first place? Because I wanted to die. But it seems that Kami wasn't through with playing with me because here I am, Naruto said, his eyes started to tear. All this time, they hated me for something that I didn't do, for something that I wasn't. They called me demon, but I took solace in the fact that I didn't do any of the things they said I did. The fact I wasn't a demon, Naruto said, tears running down his cheek. But now, I am one, and they were right all along. Before this, I don't have any trouble touching people, and now, Naruto said as arcs of lightning started to appear from his body. You see, now I don't have anywhere to go. I don't know what to do. Mei didn't know what to say. She didn't think much of the kid. Naruto's feelings before, she never did, and now she regretted it. I thought that you understood. That you're different, but obviously I'm wrong, as you're just the same as everyone else. You're just the same as the people that discriminated your own clan, Naruto said and ran away. The lightning arcs followed him. Mei felt a massive guilt inside her and she fell to the floor, crying. All this time, she couldn't see past her own suffering to see that Naruto too was suffering. And worse, she blamed him for the sins that he didn't do. How could she be so foolish? So selfish? $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ Air! Naruto screamed towards the heaven while releasing a large beam of lightning. You, take it back. Take it baaccckkk. Naruto screamed and threw more bolts at the sky, hoping that he could hit the being that caused him so much suffering, or at least, remove his curse from him. I'm not your toy. Naruto cried and he sat down and hugged himself. To make it worse, a storm cloud was heading towards the island. A thunder could be heard and Naruto cried even harder. What did you do? Takeshi screamed at him and Naruto turned around to face his angry look. Naruto struggled to answer but Takeshi cut in. There are active hunter ninjas active everywhere. You just alerted them to where we are, Takeshi said and Naruto looked horrified. It seems that Kami wasn't through toying with him. $#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$#$# 7 Kiri hunter ninjas sat around in a bonfire. All of them were eating their dinner. Their 12th member came rushing to the leader of the group. "Sir, I saw bursts of lightning from an island near here, sir," the ninja said. "And," hunter leader said in a bored tone, "lightning was a normal thing. Why would he fuss about it?" "The lightning came from the ground, sir," the ninja said again, and hunter leader perked up. "More specifically, it came from the island where we speculated some of the bloodline remnant is. It could be that other hunter groups have engaged them." Hunter leader smiled and tossed his food into the fire. "Well, let's not let them have all the fun, shall we?" He then got to his feet and wore his mask while the rest followed suit. "And it seems that a storm is heading towards the island," the ninja stated. "Ah," hunter leader cracked his neck, "it seems that Kami is on our side again." The rest of the squad cheered and they began to move. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ I didn't mean to, Naruto chanted again and again to himself as he rocked his body back and forth. Mei didn't fare any better either as her phobia of thunderstorm kicked in and she was gripped with fear, unable to move. Damn it. Guys, let's go, Takeshi said as he tried to grab Mei, but she refused to go outside where the storm was raging while Naruto released arcs of lightning, making the task of touching him almost impossible. Mai bit her lip and was thinking of her options. Their bloodlines, although powerful, was severely limited by the heavy rain. Her husband, Takeshi, was from the Terumi clan, who uses fire and water techniques to create the boil technique, essentially a melting mist. However, its usage was limited outdoors right now as the rain can reduce its effect. It has to be used indoors, but she was sure that the hunter ninjas would not be foolish enough to engage them inside. Mai wasn't from the Terumi clan, but she was the daughter of Roshi, the host of the four-tailed beast, and gained the bloodline to use lava technique using fire and earth techniques. Again, her lava's potency is reduced in the heavy rain, turning them from melting flaming earths to just normal rocks. She didn't have much time to think about it further as numerous water dragons slammed the house, destroying and flooding it. Damn it. We have to do something. We have to fight, Takeshi said, and Mai agreed. They may not be able to use their bloodline now, but they have other elements too. Takeshi and Mai soon disappeared in flame flickers, leaving Naruto and Mai alone. Naruto closed his eyes and hoped that everything will be over when he opened it. $#$#$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ mindscape. Naruto was back in the mindscape now. It looked like before, as there are still cracks and holes and a storm was still raging outside of it. However, the sewer's water was now chest deep. "Kid, are you just going to sit here and weep?" Kyuubi said angrily. Her red eyes glowered at him. "Shut up. You don't have the right to say anything. You were the cause of all this," Naruto shot back angrily. "That may be true, but these people are going to kill you regardless. Are you just going to sit around and let them?" Kyuubi screamed at him. Naruto clenched his head at the pain from the scream. "Let them? Maybe they'll do a better job than everyone else before this. You're a pathetic. Where's your take no shit, tough attitude before this? Your crazy and annoying attitude?" Kyuubi said. "It was just a front, a cover. I acted tough because that's the only thing I can do," Naruto replied, and his shoulders slumped. "Now you can do something. You have your own power. You command the lightning, the thunder and the storms," Kyuubi said. "It's a curse. I won't use it," Naruto replied, and Kyuubi growled in anger. "In fact, I'm tired of all this shit. I'm tired of everything." Naruto then began to wade through the water, and the seal on his stomach was visible. The spiral seal then formed together in the shape of a black circle, and black liquid started to pour from it. Naruto's eyes began to darken as he approached Kyuubi, and the water level raised even more. "I'll free you, I will die. We both got what we want and we both will be happy," Naruto said. And then Kyuubi realized that Naruto was broken. The water level represents his hopelessness. Once it reaches over his head, he will drown and he will be consumed by negativity, Kyuubi thought as Naruto inched closer towards the gate. "I've dreamed of this moment. The moment where the boy was crushed by the intense negativity placed upon him. But why it felt wrong? I should be happy, I should. What is this feeling? It isn't hatred, this alien feeling," Kyuubi though angrily. And then it struck Kyuubi. The feeling was similar to how Mito always described it to her. It was. No, she wasn't made for that. She's malice incarnate, she. "Fine," Kyuubi roared, and Naruto stopped his advance. "But let me ask you this. All this time you were blamed for something you did not do and were not. Now, however, the situation we're in is entirely your fault. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to let innocent people get hurt because of you?" Kyuubi replied. Naruto thought about for a moment. All this time, everything that has been done to him was wrongly justified. It wasn't his fault. He didn't do anything. And one thing for sure, he didn't hurt innocent people, only the ones that hurt him before. But now, if it weren't for him, the hunter ninjas wouldn't have assaulted the island and the Terumi family wouldn't be in this situation. And now, they're going to get hurt because of him. Naruto clenched his fists so hard that his knuckles turned white. Should he go back? No matter how hard I tried, no matter what I do, it won't work, Naruto said again, and more black liquid started to pour out. "Then die trying instead of quitting. Die on your feet and not on your knees," Kyuubi screamed with such force that Naruto was blown backwards. Naruto got to his feet and stared at Kyuubi for a moment before turning back. Once Naruto was gone, the water level started to recede a little bit. Kyuubi, for some reason, felt happy that the boy wasn't truly broken yet. Mai and Takeshi were now tied by multiple water whips around both of their arms by 4 hunter ninjas, but they managed to kill 4 of them before they were overpowered. And now, they were at their mercy. Well, look at what we have here. The last Terumi and his wife, Hunter leader said while a lightning flashed across the sky and was followed by the thunder. Racist scum, Takeshi said. Ah, that hurt my non-existent heart, Hunter leader said in a mock voice, and the boys laughed. He then walked towards Takeshi and punched him in the guts. Takeshi didn't show any response when Takeshi punched him again and again until he coughed up blood. You killed my boys, Hunter leader said. I don't like that. You killed my clan members, Takeshi replied. I don't like that. Hunter leader smiled at the comeback. Well, no matter, you'll be dead anyway. And who knows, maybe we can have some fun with your wife. You did train her well, did you? Hunter leader grinned at him. You, Takeshi spat at him, but it was blocked by the mask. Hunter leader wagged his finger in front of Takeshi. TCH, TCH, TCH. I plan to be merciful by having you killed first. But now, you will die last, Hunter leader said as he moved towards Mai instead. You monster. You let her go, Takeshi screamed, and Hunter leader was about to touch her when a voice screamed and gained everyone's attention. Let them go, Naruto screamed from the top of the house. Oh, so the son decided to play hero, eh? Well, sorry you're about to lose that game, Hunter leader said. Sorry, I don't deal with dead people, he screamed this time to make sure Naruto heard him. Naruto gritted his teeth while thinking about what he has to do to help them. But he could do much as 2 hunter ninja appeared from his sides and launched water whips at him. The water whips managed to wrap his arms and Naruto was tied just like Mai and Takeshi. Naruto smirked and let loose a torrent of lightning from his body. The lightning traveled to the ninjas using the water whips and electrocuted them. Hunter leader growled at this and motioned to the ninjas that were binding Mai and Takeshi. In a swift motion, Mai and Takeshi were brought together and tied using physical ropes. Naruto stopped his flow of lightning, but he was disappointed to find that the ninjas still held onto him. The ninjas were weakened, but the attack wasn't enough to down them. And what's more, a ninja brought Mei out of the house and tied her next to her parents. Well, looks like we got a package here, eh boys? Hunter leader said, and his ninjas snickered. Hunter leader then sighed before taking out 3 kunais. I told you, you're going to lose this game. He then threw the kunais at Naruto. The first 2 struck his torso while the last was aimed at his mouth, but Naruto managed to bite it to stop it. He then spat the bloodied kunai out. A word of advice, you shouldn't play out in the storm, Naruto said, and flared his normal chakra all over his body. Everyone readied themselves for what Naruto was about to do, but what happened next shocked everyone. A lightning suddenly struck Naruto and in the process, shocked his 2 captors to death this time. The 2 charred hunter ninjas fell limply across the roof and slid off to the ground. Naruto, however, absorbed the lightning and his body turned into yellow lightning in the shape of a humanoid, blitz mode. There weren't any definite markings on his body, but except for Naruto's blue eyes, whisker marks and a spiral seal on his stomach. Imagine the 9-tailed chakra mode minus the extra seal markings and facial features, except the eyes, whisker marks and the seal on his stomach. And what's more, there seems to be small and thin lightning pillar, Stormtail, connecting him into the storm. 2 of the ninjas flashed through their hand seals, but Naruto was faster and shot out 2 lightning bolts, Derezed shot, at them. The lightning bolt hit them square in the chest, atomizing them and made them explode in a shower of blood and very small human parts. What the fuck? A ninja said after seeing what happened. No lightning technique managed to make someone explode so far. Naruto wasn't finished and in a roar sent his chakra through his stormtail and lightning cracked the storm cloud. Hunter leader knew what was going to happen and immediately grabbed Mei. Naruto realized this and shot out only 3 lightning strike at the remaining ninjas instead of his planned 4. The 3 hunter ninjas convulsed for a moment before their charred corpse hit the ground with a thud. "All right, that's enough," Hunter leader said as he held Mei hostage with a kunai poised at her throat. "Try to attack me and she gets it." Naruto narrowed his eyes at the ninja, but he couldn't do anything. The hunter leader was too close to Mei and any lightning attack would hit her too. He was thinking of a way to take him down without hurting Mei when suddenly, she caught his attention. "Now power down. Power the down," hunter leader commanded, but Naruto wasn't paying attention to him, but rather to Mei. Her lips were moving as if saying something. Naruto wasn't a lip reader, but he followed his conscience to interpret her message. "I trust you." Naruto doubted about what he thought, but Mei's smile and the look that she gave him confirmed it. Her eyes didn't have any fear or hatred that it harbored before this, and Naruto returned the smile. "Let's see who's faster." Naruto then released a large lightning strike behind him that caused a bright flash of light over the sky. Hunter leader stared straight into the flash, and his arm that held Mei was involuntarily raised in front of his face to block the bright light. Naruto took this chance to sever his stormtail and leapt forward at hunter leader. One of his arms grabbed the hand that held the kunai and brought it away from Mei, and the other hands along with the forearm changed shaped into a sword, lightning sword, and speared through the hunter leader's mouth. The result was that the lightning hand speared through his mask and his mouth until it came out from the back of his head. The momentum from Naruto's leap also propelled hunter leader and Naruto away from Mei until Naruto landed on his foot a few meters away. Naruto panted heavily before looking at the speared hunter leader on his arm. His mask fall off, and Naruto saw something that he will remember for the rest of his life. The hunter leader's eyes were wide in shock and horror, as if seeing the Shinigami himself. Naruto was horrified by this and quickly released the head from his arm, and it only served to shock him more. His mouth were now gone and was replaced with a large cauterized hole. Naruto backed away in fear from what he has done and turned back to see the result of his work. The charred remains of the ninjas all have the same horrified look on their faces, and what's worse, they looked like as if they wanted to scream but couldn't. Maybe it was because the lightning killed them before they could do it, or their voice box was destroyed when they were still alive. And then Naruto realized that he has seen the look before this. It was when the first mob had assaulted him and he gave in to rage that he used the Kyuubi's chakra for the first time. The look of pure horror on the faces of the mob was the same. The look that says that he was a demon. "No, no, no, I'm a demon. A demon." Naruto clenched his head and shook it furiously. Mei realized this and quickly untied herself using a small amount of lava and head towards Naruto. Naruto saw this and started to back away. Stay away, I'll hurt you," Naruto pleaded, but Mei continued her march. "No you won't," Mei said with a smile and held her hand forward to touch him. Naruto's head was scrambling to think of something to do. Something that won't hurt her as he hand inched closer, but he couldn't think of anything. And so he closed his eyes and waited for the inevitable, only to feel the warm touch of Mei's hands caressing his cheek. Naruto slowly opened his eyes to find that his blitz mode has gone and he was in his human form again. Mei then pulled him in an embrace and hugged him tightly and began to sing softly. "I had a way then, losing it all on my own. I had a heart then, but the queen has been overthrown. And I'm not sleeping now, the dark is too hard to beat. And I'm not keeping now the strength I need to push me. You show the lights that stop me turn to stone, you shine it when I'm alone. And so I tell myself that I'll be strong and dreaming when they're gone. 'Cause they're calling, calling, calling me home, calling, calling, calling home. You show the lights that stop me turn to stone, you shine it when I'm alone. Home." Naruto then began to cry in her arms until the fatigue caught over him, lulled him into sleep. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ Naruto woke up to a weird feeling that he never felt before. It felt that the whole world was swaying for some reason. Then, he felt another feeling that he knew so well. He immediately got up and found a bucket and released the content of his stomach into it. He then heard a giggle and looked at the voice weakly. It was May. First time in a boat, I see, Mei asked and sat his bed. I don't get to go out of my village often, Naruto said and leaned into his bedpost while nursing his stomach. I want to say that I'm sorry for everything, Mei started and Naruto looked at her. I mean, I should have known to treat you better because we're very much the same, you know? We were both hated for something that's inside of us, but I let my fear and my suffering cloud my eyes to you, Mei said with a weak smile and Naruto looked at his hands. If there's one thing I know from Konoha's people is that when people is suffering, they tend to lick their own wounds and not others. That's what I hate about Konoha's people. Well, not all of them. But the point is, they thought that they're the only ones that suffered from the Kyuubi's attack. They always told me about the people that they've lost when they beat me, but did they ever ask me my loss? Naruto said sadly. Some said that they lost their parents but they never bothered with mine. Some said that they lost their brothers and sister but I never had them. They at least have the experience of knowing them, Naruto continued and Mei held his hand. Naruto looked at her and saw her smile. Thank you, for everything that you did, Naruto. You're a hero, Mei said and Naruto cried again. Not many have thanked him for his sacrifice of being the Kyuubi's host and he felt appreciated. Naruto, I want you to know something about me, Mei said and Naruto wiped his tears. I used to hate my bloodline, you know. I've once thought of how it would be if I didn't have my bloodline. Would it be different? Would I have peace and now hunted down like a vermin? I felt like being inside the body of a demon and I wished that I could trade it with a human's body. And then? Naruto asked and Mei smiled. And then I realized that if I joined the people that treated the bloodlines wrongly, then it will not be worth it. I realized that I may have a demon's body, but I have a human's heart. And if being given the choice of having a demon's body but with a human's heart or a demon's heart with human's body, I'll choose the first, Mei smiled and hugged Naruto. You may have a body of a demon but your heart is human, Mei said. Naruto felt like somebody has just drained a massive liquid weight inside his heart. Mei then released the hug and kissed him on the cheek, earning a blush from him. You know, Naruto, you're lucky, Mei said and Naruto raised an eyebrow at her. You're lightning and you can fly among the clouds, free to go anywhere you wanted to. Well, maybe I want to be grounded this time, Naruto said with a grin and Mei smiled, knowing what he meant and she got up. Thanks again, Naruto, you've made me lost my fear of thunderstorms, Mei stated. Really? Naruto asked and Mei nodded. You made me realize that lightning wasn't so bad. In fact, they're actually light in the darkness of the cloud. Their life might be short, but they're powerful and brighten the sky where the sun couldn't shine. It kinda make me feel that they're actually hope, Mei said with a smile and Naruto returned with an even bigger smile when he understood the meaning. But still, don't go outside during a thunderstorm. That's how I got into this situation in the first place, Naruto stated and Mei chuckled. I know that. I still have my common sense, you know, Mei replied and the both of them was silent for a moment, not knowing what to say before Naruto spoke. Mei, if we can't find a place that can accept us for what we are, then let's create one. A place where our children doesn't need to worry about their heritage and instead, be proud of them, Naruto asked and Mei grinned. All right, she said before she got out. Naruto then sighed happily, finally found a place to belong. He was a bit sad that it wasn't his hometown but he wasn't stupid enough to keep staying there when he isn't wanted. And Mei's words brought a smile to his lips. How could he forget about it? That there's light in lightning. Maybe, no, not maybe. That this power of his was not a curse, but a blessing. And maybe, Kami wasn't such a after all. Author's note again. Yeah, Naruto's a bit emo in this chapter but I want to show some character development. Don't worry, he's just emo this chapter. Now about the other girls in the harem. I don't want too many of them so I'm thinking of either just Kyuubi and Mei or another one. So the poll I'm going to put will either no for only 2 girls or yes for 3 girls. And the choice unfortunately will be limited. Now, choose wisely as this girl will alter the story radically. Now, who is this girl? Mikoto Uchiha. That's right. Your choice will determine whether she lives or die in this story during the Uchiha massacre. And don't worry, if you guys choose yes, I'll find a way to make the romance work, including the age difference, and no, Sasuke won't be a good guy by default. The story will be boring without some Sasuke bashing. Also, the song that Mei sung in the story is Lights by Ellie Goulding. Give it a try, people. Right, so now Naruto officially has the lightning-based bloodline, but I don't have the name for it yet. I'm thinking Blitz. Yes, the same name as the Blitz mode in the story, but it wasn't Japanese. But if you guys have any other name that's more suitable and cool, feel free to tell me. I'll credit you guys, of course. Land of Waves. 1 month later. It's been a month ever since Naruto gained his powers, or as the rest would call it, bloodline. It was rocky at the start as he was depressed by it and tried to deny it, but ever since he met the Terumi family, he finally came to accept it. It's like they say, when life gives you, make a. Except that he got a dragon fruit. Dragon fruit was Naruto's favorite fruit, by the way. Now what's left is to make a juice out of it. Anyway, things have finally turned for the better for Naruto. Mei doesn't hate him anymore and the Terumi views him as a family member. Naruto finally has a family to call his own. Takeshi and Mai treated him as their son and Naruto treated them as his parents. However, Naruto wasn't adopted though, as Naruto insisted on being an Uzumaki. He didn't know why, but maybe it has something to do with Mei. Speaking of Mei, he has this weird feeling for her, but he doesn't know what it is yet. All he knows was that it was a pleasant feeling. Kyuubi snorted at him for this, mumbling something about hormones. Speaking of Kyuubi, flashback 25 days ago. Mindscape. Kyuubi. Naruto asked the sleeping giant fox. Well, she wasn't really sleeping, just pretending so that Naruto wouldn't disturb her. Kyuubi didn't react at all. I know you're not sleeping, Naruto asked and sat on the dried sewer. The sewer was nicer than the last time he was here. The walls are repaired and there's lighting in the forms of various lights on the walls. Naruto then scratched his chin, thinking for a way to wake the giant up. They say that you should let sleeping giants lie. Suddenly, he remembered, he met a girl who really liked cats back then at Konoha. The girl sang a catchy tune related to cats that Kyuubi found to be very annoying. Nyan, 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 Nya. Naruto sang and immediately Kyuubi's ears perked up. Gah! Shut up! Kyuubi roared and sent Naruto tumbling backwards. Alright, I'm awake. What is it? Kyuubi said angrily. Naruto sat back and grinned. I knew you weren't sleeping, Naruto claimed, and Kyuubi sighed. What is it, Kit? Kyuubi said tiredly. She knew why the boy was here. She just didn't want to talk about it. Thanks for screaming some sense in me, Naruto said with a smile, and Kyuubi shot him a glance before looking away. She never had someone said positive words to her before. Usually it was demands, begging, and words of hatred. Ever since Kyuubi knocked him out of his emo state, Naruto has viewed her in a new light. He now knew that there's good in his tenant. TCH, don't make me regret it, Kyuubi replied. Sure, anyway, I'm here to ask you about my body. What happened, exactly? Why I got my powers and why I'm in a 12-year-old body? Naruto asked. Kyuubi sighed again and sat down. This is going to be long. Oh well, might as well get it over. The thing is, when that freak lightning hit you, it was destroying your body, and at the same time, to save you, I have to keep channeling my chakra into you. So your body were in a constant state of being destroyed and being healed. Naruto crossed his arms, closed his eyes and nodded sagely with grunts of hum every now and then. Had I kept channeling a steady amount of chakra, chances are, you would survive as human after the lightning strike was over. But I kind of overdid it at the time, turning you into something else, Kyuubi stated and looked away. Oh, awesome, Naruto said excitedly, and Kyuubi turned to look at him again. Wait, you're not mad? Kyuubi asked. Naruto titled his head at her. What for? I could have kept you as a human, Kyuubi stated, and Naruto shrugged. Nah, being human is overrated. Besides, normal is boring, Naruto replied with a grin. So, you've come to terms with it, Kyuubi said, more of a statement than question, and smiled, happy that Naruto wasn't mad at her. Alright then, anyway, like I said, I overdid it and made you older, physically, and turned you into an elemental being. More specifically, a lighting elemental. The thing is, you could have been a different kind of something, like a fox demon. But I guess the presence of the lightning added in the equation results in you, Kyuubi stated. Wait, so are you saying that if it weren't lightning, I could have been different? Naruto said, and Kyuubi nodded. And what's an elemental being anyway? Elemental beings are a living sentient energy being. They are a collective of energy or element bound by a will or a soul. The thing is, everyone has soul, right? Kyuubi said, and Naruto nodded. Most of us have our soul contained within bodies made of flesh. The elemental beings, however, uses elements as their body and vessel. Most of what you people call spirits and gods are elemental beings. I see, but how does it explain of me having two forms, the lightning and human form? Naruto asked. The elemental beings or elementals for short has almost complete control over their element. The strongest elemental's mastery enables them to crystallize or harden their element and vice versa. Essentially, you could do the same, and thus, you are able to convert lightning to matter and matter to lightning. But that matter is limited to your flesh for the moment, Kyuubi explained. Whoa. Awesome, Naruto fist pumped to the air. Usually, elementals preferred their elemental form, but in your case, for some reason, your default form is your human body, Kyuubi said, and Naruto nodded. I guess it has something to do with me being sealed inside you. Anyway, so it seems that you are able to eat lightning for various benefits like powering you up or healing you. I suspect that you will be able to recover lost limbs if you consume enough lightning, and you could be immortal if there's constant lightning around you, Kyuubi stated again, and Naruto's mouth was wide open. Double awesome. Naruto double fist pump this time. It is. Elementals are unstoppable when there are plenty of their elements nearby. However, it is not without its weaknesses, Kyuubi said. For one, do you know why you involuntarily release lightning? Naruto shook his head. I was about to ask you about that. Well, to get to that we must first cover a few topics. The first is, what do you know about muscle memory? Kyuubi asked, and Naruto scratched his head. It has to do with practice, I think, Naruto said, and Kyuubi nodded. Quite true. Muscle memory is the way of teaching your body about a task through repetition. In other words, it is an education for your body. For example, try to practice your academy taijutsu now, Kyuubi ordered, and Naruto pointed a finger at himself. Now, Kyuubi nodded, and Naruto got up and sluggishly began his taijutsu. He didn't learn much because the teachers didn't bother teaching him. He had to learn by looking from the kids. As he paced through the steps, he had to remember the steps one by one through his memory. Do you know why you're sluggish? Kyuubi asked, and Naruto looked away in shame. It's not because of you, kid. Naruto perked up at this. Everyone starts slow. This is because your mind is telling the body the steps it needs to do. I see, Naruto nodded and scratched his chin. Over time, with repetition, your body will be able to do the steps without many stimuli from the mind, to the point that it becomes a reflex and as natural as breathing, or so to say, automatic, Kyuubi continued. Now, obviously the human body isn't able to instantly cast techniques at a thought, Kyuubi said. You must know, certain animals are able to cast techniques without the use of hand seals. This is because these animals, like the toads at Mount Myoboku, have been able to use chakra longer than humans. Humans are new in the chakra business, and thus, their body isn't able to instantly cast techniques with just a thought. Naruto titled his head again. New? But 1 or 2 or 300 and even 1,000 years is relatively young to immortals such as nature. Kid. Kyuubi answered, and Naruto, Uhead, and evolution is slow. Anyway, That's why we need hand seals. Hand seals is the way of telling your body what technique you wanted to cast. Again, over time with repetition, your body is able to do techniques faster and better to the point that less hand seals is required. If you practice long and hard, you can cast techniques that usually require a lot of hand seals with only one hand seal or none at all, Kyuubi said, and Naruto looked excited. Now, that covers muscle memory. Let's talk about instincts. Do you know what instincts are? Kyuubi asked again. It's kind of hard to explain. Naruto scratched his head again and Kyuubi nodded. Instincts are innate behavior that is automatic and exists inside all of us without learning. For example, take sea turtles. A sea turtle will lay their eggs on a beach and leaves. Their hatchlings then will automatically swim towards the ocean even without any adult turtle to guide them, Kyuubi stated. Oh, you mean like motherly instincts in animals? Like how first-time mother cats are able to raise their young so well? Naruto said, and Kyuubi smiled. Exactly. You could also say that talent is another form of instinct. Like when someone said that you have the talent or instinct for killing, Kyuubi said, and Naruto chuckled nervously. Now, instinct is what enables certain animals to cast techniques without the use of hand seals, like I've said before. In humans, although you can't automatically use techniques, the instincts and talents for certain element is there. This is what you call elemental affinities. An example would be how the blasted Uchiha is able to use fire well because it is in their instinct. So their ancestor must be an arsonist then? Naruto asked while scratching his chin. Must be. Now, I've covered the important topics. Can you relate it to your situation? Kyuubi asked, and Naruto was silent for the moment before his eyes widened. Are you saying that I have the instinct to automatically use lightning techniques? Naruto said, and Kyuubi smiled, happy knowing that the boy wasn't too stupid. Correct. You have the lightning instinct inside you, Kyuubi said. You are able to automatically cast lightning without the use of hand seals. However, this in turn became somewhat of a curse to you. Your body doesn't know when you wanted to cast your lightning techniques. So it uses your emotions as signal instead. When you're angry, your body interpreted as sign that enemies are nearby and began to release lightning. Kyuubi explained, and Naruto, oohed. And then finally, what do you know about chakra? Kyuubi asked. Not much. I don't understand much what the teachers said, Naruto replied and scratched his head. That's not your fault, really. The teachers at Konoha tried their best to hinder you education. Anyway, chakra is an energy that is generated through the mixture of physical and spiritual energy. It is very versatile as it can be shaped and transformed for various purposes, Kyuubi started to explain. Now, normally, creatures generate normal chakra by default. However, elemental beings generate chakra based on their nature by default instead. Do you understand? Kyuubi asked, and Naruto pondered for a moment. So are you saying that I generate lightning chakra instead of normal chakra by default? Naruto said, and Kyuubi nodded. Go outside and have them teach you other elemental technique, Kyuubi ordered, and Naruto complied. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ Teach me, teach me, teach me. Okay. Mei sighed. Naruto can be annoying when he wants something. Watch me, okay? Naruto nodded and Mei casted a water technique. Water technique. Violent water wave. Mei casted and a large amount of water gushed out from her mouth towards the river for a few seconds before Mei stopped it. It's a basic technique, so you should be able to do it on the first try. Naruto, whose mouth was hanging wide open at the display, closed it and nodded. He then did the same handseal and water technique. Violent water wave, and all that came out is a cone of lightning from his mouth. Eh? Naruto said after he stopped the technique and Mei raised her visible eyebrow. But I did the same thing as you did, Naruto said. I know, Mei replied and tapped her chin, thinking. Do you see, kid? Your body interpreted as another form of lightning technique and not water technique. The problem right now is to override your instinct. And you're going to need a lot of chakra control exercises, Kyuubi stated in his mind. Flashback ends. So after much brainstorming later, they all came up with a wicked name for his bloodline. The Raiko, which translates to Lightning Lord. Which sounds very cool and menacing, although Mei argued that the name could inflate his ego to Lord-like proportions. Well, Lord-sized ego wasn't so bad, at least they didn't go with his suggestion, Raijin, which is Thunder God. Then Mei would have something to be very worried about. Anyway, as wonderful his powers was, for the moment, it kind of a bit. This is because his body interpret everything that he wanted to do as lightning. This includes normal chakra use such as leaf floating, tree and water walking. Every time he wanted to flow normal chakra, lightning came out, and so, he couldn't do normal chakra control exercises. What kind of ninja that couldn't walk on trees or water? Kyuubi stated that he is a being of lightning, thus his default chakra is lightning chakra. And thus he was faced with a weird problem. Normal people had trouble turning their chakra into other types of chakra. He has the opposite problem, turning his lightning chakra into normal chakra. This also brings the problem of converting it to other types of chakra. It requires one more step. An example would be, for an Uchiha to cast flame techniques, they have to convert their chakra into flame chakra. For Naruto, however, he has to convert his lightning chakra into normal chakra, then to flame chakra. That's why he couldn't cast the water technique earlier. It was because he didn't do any of the steps. And thus, he couldn't do normal chakra control. He has to do an improvised version of it, including emotion and mental control. And let me tell you, an energy being like him that can discharge dangerous lightning bolts at people on a whim requires perfect chakra control to live normally. And Naruto added, due to his high reserves, it's like trying to get a drop of water out of a hose. Medium chakra control wasn't enough, as he still discharged lightning bolts that can knock out an adult off his feet. Not to mention about emotion and mental control. His new parents recommended meditation, but come on, I mean, he's an energy being. Energy? Not to mention lightning. Have you ever seen a frozen lightning before? Never, right? And that's the problem, he's the epitome of movement. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ sighed with a smile. She always wanted another child before. This was because she wanted to have variety, so to say. Mei was the quiet, calm and serious type, while Naruto was the loud, active and goofy type. It's always fun to see those two personalities clash. Well, she got her wish now. Stay there and be quiet, Mei ordered Naruto, trying to get him to meditate. Naruto complied and became quiet, sitting cross-legged, hands on his knees and eyes closed. 10 seconds later, one of his opened to spy on Mei, who was watching him like a hawk. Congratulations. That was 3 seconds longer than last time, Mei said with a sweet voice yet threatening. Care to try longer? Naruto closed his eyes again longer this time. However, his eye muscles then twitched as he was about to open them, but Mei raised a finger and said a firm no, and Naruto cancelled his action. About 2 minutes later of Naruto managing to keep his eyes closed, Mei sighed. Convinced that he finally got it, she turned around and Naruto immediately rolled on the spot on the ground. Mei noticed the sounds and immediately turned around and saw Naruto was in his meditating pose again, but he was dirty with blades of grass all over him. Mei raised a skeptical eyebrow and decided to test him, and so she turned around again. Naruto rocked back and forth on his butt and held his legs to balance himself this time, and Mei immediately turned around and caught him in the action. What are you doing? Mei asked in her sweet yet threatening voice while Naruto looked at her innocently. Meditating, Naruto replied easily. Really? Last time I checked, that wasn't the standard meditating pose, she shot back and cracked her knuckles threateningly. Well, my mojo told me to do this, Naruto answered with a cheeky grin, and Mei rubbed her temples. Alright, fine. It seems that standard operating procedures don't apply to you, so we have to do something else, Mei stated. I know that this is hard for you, Considering that you are energy, but you must do this to overcome your instincts, you know. I know that, but I just can't sit still. It's like I'm on constant sugar rush. Naruto explained with a pout. Mei tapped her chin, thinking for a moment when suddenly, she got an idea. Naruto had problems with large bodies of water as his body has large amounts of electricity flowing in him than regular humans have. Contact with bodies of water usually makes his body involuntarily discharge the electricity in his body quickly all over the water that it leaves him drained. This situation is similar to when a person casted a technique that requires more chakra than what their body can provide, resulting in chakra depletion that, at its worst, can cause death. Now, the thing is, it is only fatal if he made contact with open and especially flowing bodies of water. This is because the discharged energy will escape away from him and thus constantly draining him. However, if he's in closed bodies of water such as a bathtub, the discharged energy will return back to him, and then escape and return to him again. Nevertheless, the constant energy discharge is taxing to him. The things that can affect him was heavy rain that will constantly drain him of energy, medium to large cup of water that when thrown at him, causes a mild shock, ironic for someone like him, a bucket of water that knocks him out, for emergency use only, and obviously water techniques. Thankfully, Naruto doesn't have this problem with small amount of water on him like a drizzle, light rain, light shower or sponge baths. If not, well, let's not think about it. So, Mei devised a new type of meditation. Instead of normal meditation when you just sat and empty your mind, Naruto has to do it with cups of water on his head and hands. If he moves, the cup drops and shocks him. It was sadistic and painful, yes, but like they say, no pain, no gain. But of course Naruto developed enough fine control that he can move around without spilling the cup. It irked Mei to find him doing the butt rocking again with the cups of water balanced on his forehead and knees. So instead, he was placed on a wooden board on top of a large somewhat pointy rock in the middle of a small man-made pond near the river. So far, it worked. Thankfully. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ 3 months, Naruto finally developed enough fine control again that he was able to rock the wooden platform he was on back and forth, left and right, heck, and he can do circles without falling into the pond. He then heard a very loud smack sound and turned around to see Mei, who had just face-palmed herself hard. Naruto grinned and Mei walked away while mumbling about new methods, leaving Naruto alone on the river. Naruto, not having anything to do, carefully got away from the pond when he noticed a girl came out from a bush, carrying a small white rabbit with red eyes. The girl has to be about his age mentally, has black hair that was tied in a pigtail, pink eyes and wore a simple yellow dress. "Hello, little girl," Naruto beamed at her. She was wary for a moment before replying with a soft hello of her own. "What's your name?" Naruto asked. "Nami," Nami told her name. "Oh, like this country's name," Naruto nodded. "So what's the rabbit's name?" "Kamizilla," Nami simply said. "Oh, that's a..." Naruto suddenly choked when his brain finally registered the rabbit's name. "Cute name." "I don't want the name to be cute," Nami pouted. "I want it to be scary." "Yeah, right. The only thing that will be scary about the rabbit is, if it suddenly has Sharingan," Naruto thought, noticing the somewhat eerie look the rabbit was giving him with its blood-red eyes. "I mean, cute in a scary way. I said cute so that the great and menacing Kamizilla doesn't eat me," Naruto said and pretend cowered near the rabbit. "Nope. Kamizilla is offended and demands sacrifice," Nami claimed in a somewhat creepy tone and raised Kamizilla above her head. "Uh-huh." Naruto nodded nervously. "Gah." Nami then flailed the poor rabbit around and mimicked monster mannerism, as if she was the monster and not her rabbit, and Naruto, catching on to what she wanted to do, play the helpless tiny victim. 10 minutes later, Nami was panting on the ground and her rabbit was a few feet beside her, munching on some foliage while staring at Naruto. Naruto, who didn't have to do much in the pretend play, crouched and stared at the rabbit suspiciously too. Suddenly, the monster rabbit lunged at him and Naruto, surprised by this sudden action, reacted. Zzaapppp. The rabbit exploded in a shower of blood and meaty bits over both of them, causing Nami to go slack-jawed and Naruto to release a barely audible, oops. Nami then wailed while Naruto was racking his brain for an excuse as to why he just mercilessly vaporized a pet in front of its master. And then, he got an idea. War. The lightning monster Naruto finally defeats Kamizilla. Naruto did his own monster mannerism and flailed around. Nami, however, proceeded to pound him continuously. You weren't supposed to be the monster. You were supposed to be the tiny victims, Nami said while continuing her assault. Not fair, I want to play the monster too. And you can't expect Kamizilla to win all the time. I know its name got Kami in it, but it's boring for it to win every time. Naruto shot back while weathering her beatings. Do you have to kill him? Nami stopped her assault and gave Naruto a cold glare, to which he chuckled nervously for an answer. Then, he got a brilliant answer. I only killed him once. He killed me 43 times already, Naruto shot back. The numbers were just made up though. Nami wailed and cried even harder and ran back to the village, leaving Naruto alone with rabbit remains all over him. Oh boy, I'm so going to get it, am I? Naruto said to himself, and then he noticed something on the ground. One of the rabbit's eyeballs was staring at him. Naruto felt a shiver run down his spine and he prodded the eye so that it would look away. But it rolled back to its original position to stare at him. I knew there's something wrong with you, Naruto said and ran to the village too. $$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$$ You vaporized a rabbit? Mei asked angrily. What in the world made you do that? She gave it a threatening name, so I assumed that the rabbit was threatening too, Naruto shot back in defense. Mei raised a skeptical eyebrow at him. It helps that the rabbit has long teeth and red eyes. I could have sworn that it was the Sharingan, Naruto added. A Sharingan on a rabbit? Mei crossed her arms and tapped her foot. And how in the world the rabbit got the Sharingan in the first place? Mei asked, and she has a gut feeling that she's going to regret asking the question a little bit. I don't know, Ma.